Being haunted by one's past is the staple for superheroes, and no one does it better than Batman. Over the years, his crusade against crime has been repeatedly interrupted by old enemies and supposed dead friends. After all, he may be the world's greatest detective and one of the most beloved superheroes of all time, but there is no question that Bats is still very much messed up in the head by tragedy. With that in mind, I'm Will for What Culture, and here are the 10 best times the past came back to haunt Batman. 10. Hush, Batman 609 to 619. When Tommy Elliot was a boy, he was best friends with Bruce Wayne. When Tommy's parents were involved in a car crash, Bruce's father Thomas used his expertise as a doctor to try and save them. Because Thomas only managed to save the mother, Maria, Tommy told Bruce he would never forgive him for his father's failure. However, many years later, Bruce learned that Tommy wasn't mad because Thomas failed to save his father, he was mad because he did save his mother. It turns out Tommy cut the brakes of his parents' car so he could inherit their wealth when they died. After he reached adulthood, he became the supervillain Hush and surgically altered his face to look like Bruce Wayne. Believing Bruce is responsible for all the pain he's endured in life, Hush's mission is to kill and replace him so he can finally take the life he always coveted. 9. The Court of Owls, Batman 2 to 11. The Court of Owls is a clandestine cabal who've controlled Gotham from the shadows for centuries. If a person interferes with the court's plans, they send an assassin called the Talon to eliminate him or her. When Bruce indirectly jeopardized the court's plans to restructure Gotham 20 years later, they sent the Talon to kill him. Very narrowly escaping with his life, Bruce researched the court and discovered that they are directly connected to his family and his adopted son, Dick Grayson. The court had murdered several Waynes and intended to turn Dick Grayson into a Talon after his parents died. The Court of Owls are a fairly new addition to Batman, but they haunt Bruce as they both directly influence his own past and the entire history of Gotham. 8. Karma, Detective Comics 983 to 986. In the On the Outside storyline, Batman faced a new foe called Karma. Even with the aid of the Bat family, Karma defeated the superheroes with little effort, because Karma is armed with a mask that allows him to read the minds of anyone in his proximity. When Batman researched the origin of this mask, he learned it was bought on the black market by a terrorist called Fleet Delmar. Fleet went on the rampage in Markovia years ago before Batman immobilized him with fear gas. As Fleet was left paralyzed with fear, a swarm of bats ripped his face to shreds and tore his eyes out. Fleet eventually tracked down an alien mask that not only allowed him to regain his sight, but endowed him with psychic powers. Using the mask, he rebranded himself as Karma and vowed to dedicate his life to destroying the cowled vigilante. 7. The Victim Syndicate, Detective Comics 943. On Batman's first night in Gotham as a vigilante, a civilian was inadvertently disfigured in the crossfire between the Dark Knight and a villain. This man refers to himself as the first victim, since he is the first of hundreds of people whose lives were ruined after they came into contact with Batman. Over the years, the first victim located others who have had their lives destroyed from an interaction by Gotham's so-called protector and formed the Victim Syndicate. Many of the Syndicate's members were kidnapped, tortured, or mutilated by Gotham's supervillains in order to draw out the Dark Knight. The fact that the Victim Syndicate even exists is a symbol of the price Batman must pay for failing those he swore to protect. What's worse is the victim has encouraged dozens to join his ranks to remind the Caped Crusader of the cost of his actions. 6. Jacob Kane, Detective Comics 934. During the rise of the Batman story arc, Batman stumbled upon a Batarang that wasn't his own. Upon investigation, he learned of a secret group called the Colony, who had modeled their soldiers on Batman. Each member of the colony is equipped with duplicates of the Dark Knight's weapons and armor. Ultimately, it was discovered that the army was formed by Bruce Wayne's uncle, Jacob Kane. Never in a million years could he have foreseen Kane becoming his enemy. Worse still, Kane knows that Batman is Bruce Wayne, meaning he can attack him or his loved ones whenever he wishes. 5. Dr. Hurt, Batman 676 to 681. Debuting in 1963, Dr. Simon Hurt proved to be a very minor villain for several decades, but during the millennium, Hurt reinvented himself as one of Batman's biggest tormentors. For years, Hurt's true identity was unknown. In the end, it was revealed that Hurt was a demon worshipper from the 17th century who rendered himself immortal after making a pact with the devil. To maximize his power, he must consume the body, mind, and soul of his family. However, all of Hurt's relatives have now passed away, save for one, Bruce Wayne. Because they share a bloodline, Hurt vows to take over Batman's body and use it to rule the world. 4. Damian Wayne, Batman 656 to 660. For years, the leader of the League of Assassins, Ra's al Ghul, has served as one of Batman's most relentless foes. However, Batman's relationship with Ra's daughter, Talia, is even more conflicted. Even though she shares her father's vision of culling humanity to help control the world's resources, she and Batman have been in love since they first met. In the Batman and Son storyline, Batman encountered a 10-year-old called Damian who claimed to be his son. Bats discovered that Talia had drugged him years ago and forced herself upon him and fallen pregnant. She gave birth to Damian, hoping this would force Batman to join the League of Assassins. Batman was horrified that Talia had violated him, but agreed to take in Damian, knowing the kid was better off with him than having his mother exploiting him for her own nefarious schemes. 3. Joe Chill, Batman 35 to 40. During the Endgame saga, Joker concocts a Joker venom that causes the infected person to have murderous tendencies to anyone they love. Batman deducted that the cure could be extracted from the cells of the first person Joker infected with the toxin. Batman managed to locate patient 0, but was astounded to learn that it was Joe Chill, the man who killed Bruce Wayne's parents. Not only was it haunting to come face to face with his parents' killer, this meant that the Joker knew of Batman's identity. Perhaps even more than the Joker, Joe Chill is the one guy Batman really has mental issues with. 2. Jason Todd, Batman 635 to 650. When Batman stumbled upon a homeless orphan called Jason Todd, he decided to adopt him, worried that he would become a criminal if he was left to live on the streets. To give him purpose, Batman allowed Jason to become his sidekick, Robin. Sadly, during one of their missions in Ethiopia, Jason was murdered by the Joker. Batman blamed himself, believing Jason would still be alive if he didn't push him into becoming his sidekick. Although he did his best to move on, the past was far from finished with him. Years later, it was revealed that Jason was still alive, returning from the dead via Lazarus Pit in the New 52. When Jason learned Batman hadn't killed the Joker for murdering him, the former Robin snapped. The ex-ally of Batman became a murderous vigilante and found himself at odds with his former mentor many times. Although they eventually kind of patched things up, Jason is always eager to remind Bats of his failings. 1. He created the Joker, the Killing Joke. Mere weeks after Batman donned his costume for the first time, the superhero found himself in the Ace Chemicals facility, chasing a minor criminal called the Red Hood. Batman's pursuit caused the Red Hood to stumble off a ledge, falling into a chemical vat below. It was the toxins in the container that transformed the Red Hood into the deranged and psychotic Joker, or at least that's how the Clown Prince of Crime tells it. Every time the Joker takes a life, Batman feels like he's failed, not just because he didn't stop it, but because he knows the Joker would never have existed if it wasn't for him. Every second he exists, and with every evil deed he commits, the Joker reminds Batman of his greatest mistake. And there you have it, folks. 10 times the past came back to haunt Batman. Feel free to drop this video a like if you enjoyed it, and drop me a follow on Twitter at YouSlyDogU. I'm Will for What Culture, thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you next time.